Am I the idiot for still going to the doctor appointment my husband canceled behind my back just so I could host dinner for his friends? This might sound petty, but hear me out please. I want to say that I'm a very generous host. I do most of the hosting as part of my stay-at-home mom duty. Dear husband works a very stressful and demanding job, and believe me, I appreciate what he does so much, and I never imply I'm working harder despite caring for the house and the kids 24/7. So recently, I've been having issues with my eyesight or vision. My eyes started looking reddish, and would hurt a lot. I've ignored the issue hoping it'd go away, and because I'm too busy at home, post-Christmas cleaning, but I was advised to schedule an appointment with the doctor ASAP, and I did, though it was extremely hard to get an appointment on such a short notice. Dear husband told me he wanted to have friends over for dinner on this day, but I told him that I have an appointment with the doctor to get my eyes checked. He said I could reschedule since my eyes looked fine, but I said no, it's urgent and I needed to go, and he just nodded silently. The day of the appointment he sees me coming downstairs ready to go, and asks where. I tell him, and he says that he already sent the clinic an email canceling my appointment, and that maybe I should go the next week or so. I look at him and ask why, and he tells me that he needs me here so I could host dinner for his friends, and that I already knew so I shouldn't act surprised. I get mad at him, and say heck no. Then I grab the laptop, and contact the clinic immediately. Thankfully they put my appointment back on, and I tell him I will be going right then. He pitches a fit, and says he already invited his friends for dinner, and I can't just bail on him like that. I tell him to postpone, but he refuses, and begs that I skip my appointment since it was an emergency, but I say no. He then gets angrier and says, he won't drive me then, but I call my sister and wait for her while he's done with his tantrum about how much of a rude host I am, and whatnot. I leave and come back at 7 to find the house empty. He later calls me still angry saying I failed him, and made him look unwelcoming, and just an overall bad friend for refusing to host dinner for his friends, and forcing him to cancel it. He then spent the night out, and came home the next day just sulking, calling me a bad host, and manipulative, and stubborn to bail on him the way I did, and that he'll always remember that. His words made me feel so horrible as someone who loves to host in general, and I'm thinking I should have gone to my appointment some other time since those dinner meetings don't happen often. Am I the idiot? Sharing ages, I'm 34 and he's 37. Do not allow him to turn this around on you. Don't try and argue back against his accusations of whatever he thinks you've done wrong. Don't spend your discussions trying to justify what you did. You are upset at him for something so unfathomably inconsiderate and controlling that I would seriously be reconsidering my relationship if I were you. He is putting his whims and his friends above you because he didn't bother to check if you were free before inviting friends. Lack of respect and communication. He is putting his reputation above your health, safety, and personal autonomy by canceling a much-needed medical appointments on your behalf. Utter disdain and controlling behavior. It is him that needs to apologize and show remorse before you can allow this incident to be let go. Because if you allow him to continue to feel like what he did is okay, that will only be the beginning of his manipulation. You're not his servant. You are his partner. And you deserve prompt and appropriate medical care. You are an equal partner in the relationship, meaning that you also have a right to hold him accountable for what he did. Which is way worse than what he's accusing you of. If he tries to tell you that's not the point, that it's about you not canceling on your own, you tell him no, it absolutely is the point, and that this is about how disrespected you feel. He could have hosted his own friends. He could have rescheduled when you gave him notice that you had an appointment, or he could have consulted with you like a partner should before organizing this event. He chose not to. That's on him. If you aren't considering leaving him, you made a good start today. You need to let him know you will not be controlled, disrespected, or beholden to him to take care of your own health and safety. Let him know that you host and take care of the house because that is part of an agreement you both have based on your respect for what he provides, but that does not mean he has carte blanche to take advantage of you. Reiterate that it is basic courtesy to check with you in the future, and perhaps create a shared calendar that it's his responsibility to check. And please keep an eye out. If he uses this opportunity to double down on the controlling behavior instead of as a wake-up call that you are not his slave, then I would seriously consider leaving. Make sure you have someone to stay with in case of emergency, and if he ever gets remotely physical with you, or puts your health and safety at risk again, I would go and stay with someone else immediately. Not the idiot. And consider an exit strategy. Eyes are important. Your husband puts his ego above your health. That's not okay. I'm sorry you were treated this way. You are not an idiot for wanting to preserve your vision. Not the idiot. This is abuse. He is trying to deny you needed medical attention so you can play hostess, and just as bad, he went behind your back to call your doctor to cancel. Run far, far away. OP. This is beyond a disagreement, or misunderstanding. This is very concerning. Am I the idiot for demanding my husband pay back the $6,000 he spent on golf clubs? I'm a nurse, and have been working more hours for the past 6 months to be able to save money to fix the ceiling in our house. I've saved up to $8,000 in my account, and since my husband hasn't worked since 2020, I'm trying to balance rent and utilities payments. My husband is a golf enthusiast, and so are his friends. Only difference is that all his friends are well off, and they can afford expensive golfing gear and trips. They mentioned wanting to go on a golfing trip next week, and invited my husband, but he initially refused. Though he really wanted to go, but complained about how his friends bought fancy golfing gear while all he has is old gear. He asked if I could lend him $6,000 so he could buy a set of golfing clubs, but I refused because $6,000 for a set of clubs is crazy expensive, especially for someone who doesn't work. He got upset, and accused me of holding his employment over his head when he couldn't help it. Anyway, I thought we were over this argument, but I had discovered that he had pulled the $6,000 out of my account, and purchased the set behind my back. I went home and exploded on him. He swore he'd return the money once he gets back from his trip, but I told him he had no right to take the money, and spend it on a set of clubs while the ceiling needs fixing. He said the ceiling doesn't require $6,000 either, but the kids' room was affected too. I demanded that he return the set, or pay me the $6,000 right there and then. He told me I was being unfair to him, and that he's feeling stuck because his friends can afford to buy whatever, while he's being yelled at for wanting something for himself for once. I told him to get a job, and buy himself whatever. He tried to tell me he'll pay me when he finds a job, which is after he gets back from his trip, but I refused. He kept begging me to let him just go on the trip, and we'll figure it out later, but I said no. If it wasn't for something as important as the ceiling, I would have maybe waited, but he's saying I'm abusive, and controlling of his life. Edit. People that are suggesting I return the clubs myself, I can't because he never brought them to the house. I've never seen them, and I don't know where he's hiding them. I suspect his brother's house, but I'm on really bad terms with him, and can't go to his house. So the argument now is just him pushing to get me to stay quiet till he gets back from the trip, but I'm putting my foot down and refusing. Not the idiot. This is a massive red flag. He stole from you. $6,000 is a lot of money, and if he's not working, how on earth is he gonna pay you back? The fact that you are working your butt off to repair the ceiling, which is a major need, and he thinks that golf clubs are more urgent than home repairs really shows how childish he is. Not the idiot, not the idiot, not the idiot. And please get yourself a divorce attorney ASAP. Your husband hasn't worked in 2 years, and he thinks $6,000 golf clubs are a reasonable purchase? That alone makes me deeply question his judgment. But the fact that he then stole your money to buy them is beyond the pale. This man is a selfish, unemployed, when literally everyone is hiring, thief, and you clearly can't trust him or his judgment. Lawyer up and get this idiot out of your life. Not the idiot. Reach out to his wealthy friends and ask them for a $6,000 loan on behalf of your husband. He'll be so embarrassed that he'll never go with them again. Your husband can pay them back while you get a divorce. Not the idiot. Do you have ways to contact the friends going on this trip? If you do, I suggest you tell him that if he doesn't return the clubs, and hand you the money today, you will contact all of his friends, and tell them he stole $6,000 from you to buy clubs, when that money is to fix the collapsing ceiling in your children's room. And that it's money you earned working overtime as a nurse during a global pandemic while he sits at home refusing to even get a fast food job. Be prepared to follow through. Embarrass the crap out of him. He obviously doesn't care what you think, but let's see if he cares what his friends think. Am I the idiot for finally confronting my husband about his unhealthy choices? I, 28 female, and my husband, 30 male, K, have been married for 2 years, together for 5. It was made very clear at the beginning of our relationship that I care a lot about physical fitness. K and I have always been very fit people who regularly attend the gym, and eat well, so that has never been a problem. 5 months ago, my husband decided to go off of his anxiety meds. I know people typically gain weight while on certain medications, but he, thankfully, never had that problem. However, since going off of his meds, I've noticed he has been to the gym less, and has been eating some junk food. Because of this, he has gained a significant amount of weight. I tried to urge him to go to the gym more, and cut out the junk food, but he didn't take it well, and would just kind of go silent, and nod when I suggested it. Recently, one of my brother-in-laws, 33 male, D, came over. He noticed my husband has gained a lot of weight since his last visit a few months ago. A couple nights ago after dinner, K was getting an unhealthy snack. D noticed K eating a lot of snacks, and told K that he needed to chill and cut down on the carbs. My husband got offended, and said it was none of his brother's business what he ate, and that gaining 10 to 15 pounds isn't a big deal. I tried to stay out of it, but then K asked why I wasn't defending him. I finally broke. I gently said that honestly I agreed with D and that my husband's weight gain was a problem. Gaining 10 pounds in 5 months was pretty extreme, and if I had known this would happen I never would have encouraged K to go off of his meds. K got really upset, and went off to our room, and ended up staying there the rest of the night, which I felt was kind of dramatic, but anyways. Later, when I went to bed, K asked why I said all of those rude things. I didn't think I was rude, so I got kind of offended, to be honest, that he was suddenly accusing me. I ended up losing my cool, and saying I couldn't believe he didn't see the problem. His weight gain was causing me stress, and making me not attracted to him anymore. He used to look amazing, but now I can barely see his abs, which I know isn't a big deal to some people, but to me it is. K started crying, and told me to get out, and I ended up sleeping in the guest room. He still won't talk to me. Am I the idiot for finally telling my husband the truth about his health? Edit 1. To everyone DMing me / saying I should get a divorce, you don't know my relationship with my husband, and clearly you do not understand it. I love my husband, I love him a lot. I do not want to divorce him. Are people not allowed to be attracted to specific things? Edit 2. My husband talked to his psychiatrist before going off the meds. He ended up kind of going cold turkey with it, but not exactly. He weaned himself off over a week. Edit 3. No, I do not have an eating disorder. Edit 4. I have asked my husband what's wrong and he says nothing. How am I supposed to help him if he doesn't communicate? I assume he talks to his therapist / psychiatrist about this stuff, and I don't want to cause more problems. You are the idiot. This isn't about his health. 10 to 15 pounds isn't a big deal health-wise, especially if he was fit before gaining the weight. This is 100% about his looks, so don't hide behind health. And yeah, his brother is an idiot too. You are the idiot. People's bodies are their own business. What your husband eats, and how much he works out is his business. If you aren't attracted to him any longer, then get a divorce so you don't have to have sex with him. You 100% do not have to stay married to someone whose body you find repulsive. But if you decide to stay married to him, you can't comment on his body, or what he eats. You can't know what your partner's body is going to look like for the rest of your time together. He may be put on a different medication, and gain 60 pounds. Or he may get ill, and lose 40 pounds. Just as he can't know that about you. You can either develop a more mature attitude about body size, or you can go find some other schmuck to marry you, but stop torturing your husband. I'm honestly so disgusted with OP's post. What did she expect the response to be? Like, holy crow, what a snobby disaster. OP, you might not have said it out loud, but you think it, and you basically just told your husband that you don't love him anymore. Think about the implications of that for a moment. Then think about his point of view for a moment. Did you even consider the changes that occur when someone goes off long-term meds? Did you consider that he might be depressed, or trying to compensate the loss of his meds with treats that make him happy? What stick do you have up your butt that you can't take the time to talk to your husband about his mental and emotional health? And what happened to your wedding vows? Because I'm betting they didn't include leaving your partner in their time of sickness. By the way, 10 to 15 pounds in 5 months is not some wretched thing. You are the idiot. Apologize. Sincerely. Am I the idiot for telling my autistic husband that I hope our children are not autistic? This has been a source of tension in our house since we had this conversation, and to be honest, I'm starting to feel like I've truly crossed a line here. So, I would love an impartial opinion. My husband is autistic, but frankly you wouldn't know it. He's incredibly outgoing, very social, doesn't seem to react strongly to sensory overload. Basically he's normal. What he does have are panic attacks here and there, and they can be very severe, wherein he's sitting in the bath, and puking for anywhere between a few hours to a few days. It took me a long time to be able to accept this as just a thing that is going to happen occasionally. It used to terrify me, and terror took the form of anger, And we've had a long road coming to where we are now, a sort of go and do what you need to do, I'll take the reins for a bit. So, come to recently. We're getting married in June, and I couldn't be happier. Everything about this person is amazing, and so worth whatever blip his panic attacks are. But we have come to talk about children. I think it's going to be a majorly stressful time for him, and I'm hoping that I will be able to take the reins on a lot of it, so he doesn't have to worry himself too much. He seemed pleased with this line of thinking. All he has to do is show up to the birth, be nice to me during pregnancy, and allow me a year or so off of work. Which he seemed to really love. Work is his second home, and his stress-free sanctuary. I think interpersonal things are more stressful for him. At work, he's a software developer, he can for the most part just chill knowing he knows what he's doing. My being home more is ideal. I'm trying as I type this to remember how it came up in conversation, but it was something like, him, I'm sure Junior will be coming with me to work soon enough, talking about time spent with kid, and I say, well let's hope not, no need to wish autism on them. And he went off. I don't love him, I think he's less than, I think that his personality is an affliction, I think neurodivergent people are problems. Like Jesus Christ, it got entirely unnecessary. Remember, this person is not severely autistic, he is just devoid of give a crap. I try to explain that I would rather our child not have the panic attacks. And I would hope that they would not have to struggle as he does in certain situations. But he would not hear a word of it. And he's barely said a kind word to me since. I'm staying with my mother and sister, and I think I explained it badly. They don't know the first thing about the panic attacks, and the issues that do come with a person with autism. They just see this incredibly social, lovely person that everyone else sees, and they seem to think I'm a hateful bigot for not wishing this on my kid. So, am I the idiot? I wanted to stop reading it. He's autistic, but you wouldn't know it. He's normal. The fact that she's in a relationship with an autistic person, and has the audacity to equate it with abnormality. To have it not even begin to dawn on her that the reason he has his panic episodes is probably from his entire system breaking down, after spending all its spoons on masking all day every day, even masking for her. Dear God. I can't imagine how hard that must be for him. And there's nothing wrong with being autistic. There's strong evidence that many, if not most, of the greatest minds in history were neurodivergent. Anyway. He deserves better. Oh, and you are the idiot OP. The thought of OP being responsible for an autistic child is so scary. I'm disgusted that she treated an adult this way. She has no business caring for any child at all, but I fear she would be extra cruel to an autistic child. It is my genuine and sincere belief that before you have kids you need to think about the possibilities for the ways they might not be, in the heaviest quotation marks possible, normal. Autistic. ADHD, Down syndrome. Disabled. Gay. Trans. Just kinda weird. Obsessively interested in cars, sports, Warhammer, whatever you hate most. Really into makeup. Allergic to eggs. Celiac. A drag queen, and fierce. A drag queen, but bad at it. An actor. A literal clown. If you can't be confident that your love and support for your child will be absolute in all of those circumstances, you shouldn't have children.